So this week's strategy is what I like to call time hacks. And the success strategy that I'm talking about is how you can be more effective and more efficient with your time. Right now, we are in the midst of a crazy, crazy refi boom, and simultaneously, we're also having purchase business increasing. Now, what I'm hearing from loan officers, coaching clients, and even questions that are coming through on webinars and trainings, I'm hearing from LOs saying they just don't have enough time to get to everything. Now, the truth of the matter is, whether we're dealing with this crazy refi boom or any market, I tend to hear that all the time. Now, granted, it could be more difficult or more challenging right now in today's market, but the reality of it is that more often than not, if you're experiencing great challenges on your time, pressing for your time, then what you have to start looking at is what is your system for doing business? What is your system for being productive? And what I want to do here right now is I want to give you some quick tips, or what I like to call again time hacks, that it's going to allow you to do more in less time. So part of this is going to be strategic, and part of this is going to be a little bit of homework, because for those of you that ever watch me or see any of the videos that I do, I'm always about giving you action items that you've got to take to make massive changes in your business. Not meaning that the changes are massive, but to experience massive change. So when we talk about the problems today, we're talking about not being able to handle everything that's happening. So here are some of the suggestions. First of all, the first action item you've got to take is you've got to look at how you're spending your time. Are you being very reactive? For example, if you are using Outlook or whatever your CRM is, or your really not CRM, but your email system, and is it one of those things that notifies you, like that little balloon that pops up or a chime pops up every time an email comes in? That's got to be shut off, because automatically that's a distraction. It makes you less efficient. Now, I get pushback sometimes where people say, yeah, but I don't want to miss anything. Okay, so in other words, based upon that logic, then you can never be in an appointment, because we know if you're in an appointment, you're not going to be responding to your emails. You're not going to have your chimes going off, because if you're meeting with a realtor face-to-face or a borrower face-to-face, you would never allow it, and neither would they. So it's really about your mindset when you say that you're afraid of missing something. It's not that you're afraid of missing something. It's afraid of, or the problem of, you not prioritizing what's important at that moment in time. You're not treating whatever you're focusing on, your lead follow-up or whatever it is you're doing, you're not treating it at the same level of priority as an appointment with another individual. Another example, or another huge time waster or time suck from your daily activities, is what I call crisis illusion. Crisis illusion is when you allow things to interfere with your planned schedule. So the simplest example I could give is you get a notification from your processor, your underwriter, or whomever, and there's a problem with the appraisal. You're missing documentation. And what you do is you put that in your head as a crisis, and what that means is you stop what you're doing to tend to that issue. Now, in my book, that is not a crisis. Because a crisis in our industry, to me, is something that if you don't do it right now, the loan doesn't close today, or it doesn't close tomorrow, or it's something that's extremely time sensitive. But a pay stub or an appraisal issue or anything like that, does it really matter if you did it first thing in the morning or if you did it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you had slotted time to get those types of things done? Many loan officers consistently are so glued to their email, and I'm looking up at where my emails are. Right now they're closed though. They're looking at their emails, and their phones are buzzing, they're chiming, they've got texts coming in. And let's not forget the circle of stupidity. And the circle of stupidity, which I can belong to also, is those group friend chats, those WhatsApp groups or whatever it is, where there's a lot of nonsense, and it's the humor that you get during the day between you and your friends or what have you, or whether it's a social media group that you're on. I'm not saying don't participate in those, but you know what? Maybe the middle of the day, or when you're really supposed to be focused on business, would not be a good time for your phone to be buzzing. I remember one time I had taken the day off. I stopped by a buddy's office, and we were sitting there and we were just talking or what have you, and his phone was chirping every 2 seconds. And I'm like, but dude, I'm like, do you allow that to go on all day? And he's like, yeah. I go, don't you ever shut that off? He's like, no. I'm like, that's crazy because I know this madness goes on all day long for many of us. So we need to be able to shut those things down. So we've got to avoid crisis illusion, and we've got to be able to avoid the distractions that continually come our way. It's about focus. Here's a simple strategy that I give to all of my coaching clients whenever we get involved in time control. My challenge to you is for a week, write down everything you do. And what I mean by that is, so from 9, like, I'm going to give examples. So from like 9 a.m. to 9:10, you worked on the Jones file. From 9:10 to 9:12, you were speaking to Mrs. Smith about her file. From 9:12 to 9:18, you were talking to a processor. You don't have to get into the weeds of exactly what the conversations were. What I want you to do is I want you to start just writing down and tracking how you spend your time. Doing this activity, here's what you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn, one, how quickly or how often you're constantly being bombarded by messages and allowing these things to take away from your focus. Second thing you're going to find out is that you're going to have a lot of people drawing you in different ways, and if you don't control your time, other people are happy to do it for you. And the third thing you're going to realize is just how reactive you are. That you're really allowing your mind to go from here to here to here to here to here, and that what you're doing is you're letting your day dictate what your day will be like versus you dictating and controlling blocks of time. I am not suggesting that you're never going to have interruptions. I'm not suggesting that you're never going to have a crisis. But when you start tracking this, and I can tell you the results, first of all, very few clients, in fact, I don't think I've ever had a single client make it a week. Because usually within day 1 or day 2, they become completely disgusted with how much they can verify now. They can actually see it on paper, how much they're allowing the day to control their business. When you make that decision of how you're going to control your day, the world completely changes. But it takes a discipline. It takes shutting down your email. It takes turning off your ringer in certain blocks of time when you're going to be focusing on specific activities. Don't just block out time for appointments that you have with other people. Block out time for appointments you make with yourself for specific activities, especially like prospecting, especially like relationship development. Because right now, if you are not developing relationships, and because everybody is so busy, they're just in survival mode, I'm teaching all of my clients that the world is your oyster as far as how many relationships and how many referral partners and realtors you can develop relationships with. You can steal them away from your competitors, because when you start talking to realtors and just ask them this question, have they found that the service levels from their existing loan officers have gone up or down? In almost every single time that the realtor answers that question, they're going to say that it has gone down. Many of your realtors will probably say it's gone down. Your response time is longer. It's taking you longer not only to return their phone calls, but to get them answers. I understand the volume challenges. I'm not minimizing that. What I'm saying, though, is if you get realtors talking about their frustrations, you can plug yourself in there as a solution. Now, last but not least, you're probably saying in your head, well, Ron, how am I going to plug myself into a solution when I don't even have enough time myself? That's where you have to rewind back in this video and ask yourself, am I really controlling my time? Am I eliminating distractions? Do this assignment. Write down those activities. Then you can decide, are you really being pulled all over the place, and what you can do about it. This is the start of you beginning to control your time. There's a lot more that you can do, and I'm going to dive deeper into this down the road, but I wanted to give you some quick strategies and some quick things, realizations that you can look for to determine, are you being as productive as you possibly can. See you next week. Remember, don't forget to check out my Ultimate Originator coaching platform. You can try it for 14 days and you will get more strategies about how you can grow your business and step-by-step instruction than you can possibly imagine. You can try it for 14 days, plus you can also join me on my next members-only private training. Hope to see you there.